I would like to start this talk by asking you to take an exercise with me. During times where we can't hardly control anything, controlling the way we breathe is probably one of the few things left within our power. So I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. I want you to close your eyes and do that 3 times. And whilst you do that, I want you to focus solely on your breath. Forget what's for dinner. Forget the emails left to reply. Be here now, in this present moment. And with your eyes still closed, I want you to think of the 3 people you love the most in the world. Don't think about it too much. Whoever comes to your mind. Who are those special someone that has a special place in your heart? You can open your eyes now. Now, let me ask you a question. In which place were you on your own list? First, second, third, or like the vast majority of us, you didn't even make it to your own list? My name is Fabi Dorea. I'm a self-love expert, and that's exactly what I want to talk about today. The importance of self-love. We are taught so many things at school, except the most important one, which is to love ourselves. Without confusing self-love with selfishness, you should always be the first love of your life. And you want to know why? 1, you're the only person you can ever divorce. And 2, you cannot give to others what you cannot give to yourself. So if it's love you're looking for, you must be able to love your whole self first. Now, let me tell you something about my own journey to self-love. I don't know about you, but I'm from the Disneyland and princess generation. And for a while, I did expect Prince Charming to come and save me from myself. And I waited and waited and waited a little bit longer, but he never came. No one told me I was the orchestrator of this fine symphony called life, and that if I did not get my sword and slay the dragon myself, I would have never experienced this deep love within. Now, this wasn't an easy journey, but it all started with a simple but yet powerful question. I'll take you back in time. Who am I? Am I my name or my profession? Am I the daughter or the son? Am I the whisperer or the one that listens? Can I be all and yet be none? And as the water washes away all that I am and yet I'm not, I realize that my true being lies deep down inside my core. Who am I? You see, I have been asking myself this question as long as I can remember. Growing up in sunny Brazil, where our skin is often exposed, having the perfect curvy body felt like an obligation. Add that to a society that judges you by the way you walk, talk, what car you drive, what university you went to, and if you have a ring on your finger. Oh yes, that's very important. Your civil status is a measure of your worthiness as a woman. Oh, and kids, you must have kids before you're 30. I mean, you're here to procreate and perpetuate the species, right? Add that to the pressure of being the youngest of 2 perfect happily married sisters. What a weight. I spent years trying to be the perfect student, strictly straight A's, the perfect daughter, the perfect girlfriend, the perfect citizen. I spent my life hiding under the shield of perfectionism in order to hide my own sense of inadequacy from myself and others. So many labels that led me to believe that I'm only worth as much as the carrots on my fingers, and that the more stuff, money, titles I had, the more valuable to others and to society I would be. But what happens if I lose the object that I tie my value to? Will I still be worthy? What if I gain weight or if I don't get married? Will I still be worthy of love, of care, of compassion? I never wanted to be perfect. I just wanted to be seen, to be really seen and not just looked at. Not to feel ashamed of having cellulite or to feel less for not having kids. But I didn't know better. I was fed the one-fits-all ready-made cake recipe for happiness, which was get a job that pays even though it doesn't bring you happiness, get married, have kids, and maybe, but then just maybe, travel once a year. I mean, that sounds like an awfully happy life, right? My sisters did it, so could I, and so was I. I got my bachelor's in law and I was engaged to a good man. The problem with that is that I felt sad, lost, lonely, and disconnected from everyone, and quite frankly, from life. And the pressure to be happy just worsened things. I mean, how ungrateful was I? I had everything a woman could wish for, and yet I felt worthless. Who was I? That cake they fed me tasted horrible. And so I decided to pick up my own ingredients and bake myself a delicious chocolate lava cake. I got on a plane and I left life as I knew behind. Career, country, fiancé, family, fears, mass identities, you name it. I decided to dig deep into the ocean of my soul to find the pieces of me I lost along the way in order to become something or someone I was expected to be. 11 years in London by myself, a changing career, and a whole lot of lessons later, I finally discovered that the choice to marry myself first was the best choice I've made in my life. That self-love was the only way within so that I would not live life without. And thanks to that, I now know that my worthiness is not linked to anything external. I'm not defined by my possessions or by my civil status. I'm not defined by my diploma or the car that doesn't sit in my garage. I am the smile I deliver to a stranger. I am the warm hug when a friend needs. I am the love I choose to spread, and I choose to spread love every day of my life. So now when people ask me if I'm married, I say, hell yeah. I consecrated the holy matrimony to the only person I'll never be able to divorce. Can you guess what that is? And not only do I know my worth and who I am, but I baked my cake, and it tastes delicious. So my question to you is, what's your flavor? Luckily for me, I was able to use my pain as fuel and leave everything behind. Had I stayed and listened to people's opinion, I would probably be stuck in an unhappy life because I didn't choose myself. I would have probably become a product of people's expectations, and as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be here with you today sharing my story. Had I not chosen to be the first love of my life, I would still be wandering around feeling half empty, looking for another half-empty person to complete me. And that's exactly where it realized the problem. The problem with relationships is that people are trying to build a relationship from the outside in, when in fact, we need to learn how to build a relationship from the inside out. For the simple reason that the relationship you establish with yourself permeates all other relationships in your life. I will repeat. The way you relate to yourself dictates how you relate to money, to your coworkers, to your partner, to your family, and to the world around you. And as a matter of fact, you can be happy single and you can be happy married, but it's impossible to be happy in the absence of self-love. Now, this doesn't mean you have to take my journey to self-love. On the contrary, it means that you get to choose you at any given moment in your life. It means that before finding someone else, you need to find yourself first. Can you close your eyes and imagine just for a moment how your life would be if you just choose you? Just for a brief moment. Now let me take you back to that expression, my other half. Let me ask you a question. Are you half human being? Wait, let me answer that one. No, you are a complete, whole, indivisible expression of nature, Perhaps looking for another complete whole human to walk alongside by you on this journey called life. Can you distinguish the difference between complete and complement? When you say you want someone to complete you, it means you're either lacking or you're missing something. And you want that someone to fill in a void that it's yours to fill. And that's not fair to you or to the person. It's not fair to the person because you place an unrealistic expectation on the relationship. And it's not fair to you, well, for the same reasons. But when you say you want someone to complement you, it means that you have acknowledged that you're both wholesome, and hence the relationship becomes a lot lighter and wholehearted. When you accept yourself as you are, you accept the other as they are. You don't look at a rainbow and say, I wish there was a little bit more of yellow or a darker tone of blue. You just appreciate the rainbow as it is. So next time you think of changing someone, think of them as human rainbows, beautiful and majestic with all its colors and nuances. Because true freedom can only exist when there is acceptance of your whole self. True self-love can only be reached when you acknowledge that you're complete, but yet imperfect, and that every situation, every emotion deserves to be looked at and embraced and understood with kind eyes. For all that we are relies at the very core of what makes us human, of what makes our stories unique. Change won't happen to you. Change will happen from you. So, what are you waiting for, princess? Kill the enemy created by your own mind. Jump out of the castle that imprisons you. Only you can save yourself. Don't ever place the keys to living a wholehearted life in someone else's pocket. What's your story in this book called life? Now, to end this talk, I would like to propose a final exercise. And for this exercise, I want you to think of all the traits that you envision your special someone to have. It can be personality traits, financial circumstances. And I want you to do a checklist. And once you're done with this checklist, I want you to go item by item and ask yourself, with all honesty, do I embody and cultivate this trait within me? And if your answer is no to any of these traits, I don't want you to wait for someone to give it to you. I want you to roll up your sleeves and get to work, because this is your void to fill. This is your responsibility. Now, one last thing I would like to bring out on my journey to self-love. I spoke about my journey to wholeness and how that implied leaving behind my necessity to fit into spaces I no longer belonged. And I spoke about what it took to get me here. It wasn't an easy journey. Actually, saying it wasn't easy, it's an understatement. It was very hard and arduous and lonely. But had I not gone through that, I would never be able to be here with you today. Had I stayed and tried to be accepted and loved by everyone else but myself, I would have never allowed life to flow through me. And yes, the sense of belonging is great when it doesn't cost your peace, when it doesn't cost your soul, when you don't have to pay the price with your life. So I'm incredibly grateful for having the courage to choose me. And I hope you do too. Because in a world that constantly demands you to choose something else, choosing you is an act of bravery. Thank you.